My customers are not the patients. It's the people working there. So yes, they're my team members, but if they're not happy, and I'm not mean happy like I want to make you laugh all the time or things like that. If they actually don't feel satisfied of being at work, they don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, I guess I gotta go to work, that's okay. But if they look at the mirror and say, another day, I don't want that. That's the kind of happy I'm looking for, that they're okay to go to work.
Hey there, dental economist. If you're a dentist owner or a leader within a dental business thinking about growing production, case acceptance, patient and staff satisfaction, positive outcomes, and everything else that comes with running a dental business, then you're a dental economist, and you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Dental Economist Show. We're meeting at the intersection of profit and purpose as I sit down with dental leaders who share their stories about dentistry, business, and growth. Welcome back to the Dental Economist Show with me, Mike Huffaker. We've now released episodes every Thursday since the start of the year, and I'd just like to thank you all for your support. If it isn't too much trouble, leaving a review, subscribing, following the show wherever you listen to your podcasts would be greatly appreciated. Those thumbs up and star ratings, they really do make a difference. So today on the Dental Economist Show, I'm joined by Emma Cifuentes, COO of Progressive Dental Management. Emma's worked her way through the Progressive Dental organization over the past 12 years, beginning her career as a dental assistant. She now runs the daily operations for Progressive Dental Management, a DSO with 13 offices based in New England. Emma, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
I'm excited to have you on. I first met you a few years ago. I believe it was at Dykema, Dimitri and yourself, and it might have been one of my first shows. Maybe this was 3 or 4 years ago at this point with Johnny. And, you guys came with a laundry list of requests and challenges that you were facing with our software, but it made an impression, and it also helped me to learn a lot about areas that we had to improve and challenges that you all were facing. How have we been doing? Have we been doing okay with addressing those challenges?
So far, great. I mean, I'm still with the Planet DDS team, so absolutely.
All right. We really do appreciate the business. It's been great to get to know you more over the years. This is actually your second appearance on the Dental Economist Show. So that means that you are now the only guest that we have had appear twice. You were part of the panel discussion that we had that was the special episode release for Orbit. So welcome back.
Thank you for having me. Look at that. The first person twice.
You are. Isn't that great? So let's talk a little bit about your career, because I think it's a really amazing story. So your first role within Progressive Dental was as a dental assistant, and now here 12 years later, you're the chief operating officer. Can you share a little bit about what that journey has been like for you, and if you ever kind of expected that it would have worked out in this way?
So I'm going to start with the last question. No, I did not expect to go this way. I did expect to go very differently. I didn't think that I was going to stay in the same company for so many years, but it's been a journey. And I started as a dental assistant. And when I went into the practice, I thought I was going to be a hygienist at some point, got accepted to a couple of different schools, and I was really excited. And then as soon as I noticed what they do and how they're just sitting in a chair throughout the majority of the day, I was like, absolutely not. I can't be just in one place. So that's when I decided that I wanted to become more of in the move. I wanted to do different things, but I didn't really want to manage people. So that was really interesting to figure it out what to do in this company. That's when I got my director of operations at that time offered to try out a position as an office manager. And she was like, oh, we can try this out, see if you like it. I'm like, I really don't want to manage people. It was temporarily. It worked out because I told her, I was like, what's temporarily? She said, maybe 6 months, try to turn this office around. So we did that. And I became their first clinical coordinator, started traveling to some of their offices, creating the SOPs, making sure that everything is where it needs to be, infection control. Somehow, some way, got turned back into managing people. got asked if I could do it. And we started with overtime, worked out, so became a director of operations. Then from there, I had every other title that you can imagine. Mr. Dimitri loves to give titles. He made some up. And then we became a real company, and now we have real titles. And that's how I kind of became the COO because I was already running the full operations.
That's incredible. It's a great example of, I think, what a lot of groups go through when they're starting to grow and starting to build. There's not necessarily a super clear roadmap all the time. And you mentioned that you kind of make up these titles. Well, the titles kind of end up equating to whatever you need in the moment. And it's really hard to kind of define that specialty role because you're doing everything. There's so many things that need to be done. What do you think was the biggest challenge for yourself in this career progression that you've had? You know, you mentioned not wanting to manage people, and now you're a COO and you manage many people. How did you get past that? And do you enjoy managing people now?
I think I was always a people's person, but I have a very interesting personality, I like to say. I tend to be more blunt than normal. I don't think I do a lot of sugarcoating. And I think that's why I was so hesitant in the beginning to have to lead so many different people. Because at the end of the day, we're people and we are gonna, not always be the greatest. And the assumption is that you're in a position where you're going to have to tell those people that you're not doing something right. And because of my personality, I didn't think that was going to be the greatest leader career for me when it comes to dealing with so many people at the same time.
And what have you found? My experience has been I love when people are straight shooters and when you know exactly where you stand and when they are direct and forthcoming with their feedback, whether it feels good or not at the time, depending on what the circumstance is. Would you say that you have generally felt that the team is receptive to that approach? And do you actually maybe hire for people that you feel fit the culture of direct communication?
So I think there's a combination of people that enjoy that, or at least they say they enjoy it. And then there is the other side of it that they just say, oh yeah, that was a great conversation. And then the end result is not the same way that conversation happened. So throughout the years, I had to learn how to properly communicate with different personalities. I had to learn not to change who I am, but also learn that not everybody's like me. So that was a lot of learning. And I still am learning, obviously, every single day on the proper wording to use, when to use it, when to actually bring it up, how to actually, interact depending on where I am when it comes to that specific office or that specific person. So it's definitely a learning throughout the years that I had, but I continue to do that every day.
So, what would be your advice to somebody like yourself that tends to have a straightforward approach to feedback as to how to know how to vary your approach with different members of the team and what that would look like in practice?
I actually went through this week where people tend to assume the words that I have said or the way I have said something. And one of the biggest things that I like to do is I bring a group of people together. I don't do the whole, let's have a one-on-one meeting about this. Let's discuss this first, me and you, and then let's bring everybody else in. I think if what happened is true, everybody can hear. It's the truth. And I have always been a big believer that there's always three sides to a story: yours, mine, and the truth. And if I wasn't there, I won't know the truth. So I always bring everybody together and I just pretty much make it very clear that, hey, I heard that this was said. My name kind of comes up. Please just don't assume. Let me know what's going on. Communication, everybody says it's a little cliche. Communication is the key to working well together. It is. And I think a lot of people take it for granted that it is okay not to agree. There is always an answer. It's going to be a yes or a no. Just ask. You don't have to be afraid to ask. And I think that's the biggest thing that I have to constantly remind my team, constantly remind myself that you're not going to most likely like every answer that I say, and that is okay. But it is also okay to ask why it is also okay to have facts. And if you have the right facts and I am incorrect in any form or way, we're most likely going to do what that person said because it will work.
Yeah. So you stay humble enough to be open to an opposing point of view. And if somebody brings facts to you that are counter the approach that you've been taking, you're not opposed to changing and to making a different decision at that time. I like what you said about you bring together the group. And if something is true, there's no reason why everybody can't hear it. So to me, that speaks to kind of a notion of transparency or a belief in transparency. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel that in general, you guys strive to have a transparent culture at Progressive?
We're always trying to be as transparent as we most likely can every single day. But people have their own perspective of what is it that I said or how the team said something. And I think the biggest thing that I constantly repeat is if you don't understand it, it is okay to ask. There is always clarification for something. But we also run a business. And a lot of people sometimes don't understand that you can't mix personal with business. And we do see that happen a lot. And I think that's where the confusion sometimes comes in, where I go into an office and I usually will clear up really quick. There is no such thing as favoritism. There's no such thing as the person, how their personality is. It's more of like, can the person do and complete the job? Is this benefiting the business? And I do believe that when you have clear communication, and we do try to do that all the time as much as we can, or when we catch that it's not happening. If we have clear communication, your team is going to be happy, the work is going to be done, and the business will do well.
Last time I spoke with you, and I think this is still the case, you don't have a private equity sponsor. Is that accurate?
Yes.
What, from your perspective, as you've grown to 13 offices, and that's been done all internally without outside private equity sponsorship, bank financed, and the standard ways that you go about it, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced as a result of taking that approach, as opposed to going out and finding a financial sponsor?
I think the biggest thing when you don't have somebody to back you up, you have to be very smart about every move you make. And one mistake can cost us a lot more than maybe another company or another example. But I think the biggest thing is what helps us, obviously, we have full dynamic on what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it. But what slows us down is the fact that we cannot do it as fast as somebody else might have done it, and that can delay the process. So I think that when it comes to both sides, there's benefits of it because with me here, I was able to build a lot of the strategies and the planning and really be more hands-on in everything. That might be good or that might be bad, but I take a lot of pride on knowing that the color on the wall in an office I helped create, or helping the manager in office A, or the doctor on office B feels very comfortable calling me. And I know everybody's name. So there's not one office that I don't go to that I most likely don't know who is where. So I think that obviously creates a lot of more personable when it comes to it. But I think the biggest challenge is growth and making sure that you are able to make decisions much faster, but you have so much that you have to think about. So that slows down the process.
As you all entered 2024, what were some of the goals that you set for yourselves? And as you've kind of been evaluating your progress towards them, how do you feel that this year has been going?
Been an interesting year. I think that I really can't complain about patient base. The population that we serve, we have been doing really well. So that I have no complaints about. I think that one of the biggest challenge we have noticed is just the growth on the new locations after COVID. That has definitely not been the same. We were so used to open an office and be able to grow much faster. There is a lot of competition compared to before. I feel like before there was competition. After COVID, I think there's a dental office in every corner. I have one specific office that I've been there since 2012. And in the past 3 years, there's like 5 more offices almost in the same street, plus the other 7 that was already there. So it's definitely growing and everybody's just putting a dental office in every corner. But a lot of our goals that we established for this year, I have been able so far to accomplish, but I definitely have seen growth. I have seen some challenges. I think the biggest challenge is definitely labor. That has been a huge challenge. And I think that's for everyone in any different business that they're in, not only dental.
Have you found any ways to reduce headcount with systems or technology or otherwise? I know labor is a big challenge. What are some of the approaches that you're taking to solve for that challenge?
Technology obviously plays a huge part on the growth that we did in 2024. We hire a company called Smile Services. What they offer is a full virtual receptionist / billing department. So that helps a lot on the management side. And then on the office side, that helps with the virtual receptionist. They do everything except being in front of a patient. So that's huge. I think that I'm biased to it because I like it so much. And it's not because I'm talking to you, but I do like Flight DTS a lot. I think in the end, there's so much to offer on the software that it does help with minimizing some of the tasks in the office. So you don't need the overhead to be as much as before. Before you might need 3 front desks, and now, you only need 2 receptionists, but you also have your virtual receptionist. So that helps a lot too. And then with the dental side, I think the fact that you have digital scanning and you also have AI that's doing a lot of the stuff for you. Everything is digital, from consent forms to medical consent. So everything kind of helps where everybody has their own spot. You don't need extra people.
Now, when you're thinking about hiring new team members, obviously in dental, there's a lot of turnover in some organizations, and it's a hard job to continue to keep staffed. When you're going out into the market and you have open roles, how do you differentiate yourself? You just talked about all the different dental practices that are opening up and the ones that are on each corner. It is competitive, and it's competitive for hiring talent as well. What are your thoughts on how you're able to differentiate what you do at Progressive Dental Management when a candidate might be making a choice between yourself and the practice that's just down the road?
I think one of the biggest things that we do is we don't have a centralized place where we interview everybody. We really want them to automatically fit into the office where they're going to go to. We don't really put anything extra out there. And the reason why I say this, because a lot of people offer bonus and this and that. I think that if a person is going to choose us, I really want them to choose us. And one of the biggest things I do not have an issue with, and this goes maybe for 90% of our offices, dental assistants and doctors. And we have a lot of doctors sometimes interviewing or hygienists, and they ask us, is there like a startup bonus? Is there relocation? Is this? We don't offer, we have never offered that. And the reason why is because we want them to choose us. It is okay to choose somewhere else, but I am looking for retention when it comes to our providers. And obviously, anybody clinical, I would like for them to stay as long as humanly possible. But people do leave, and that happens. I think with our receptionists, it's like a 50-50. We obviously had to change a lot in the past years from what we pay to the benefits that we offer, and obviously introducing a lot more training, making sure that they feel confident in seeing this as a career. I think then a lot of dental receptionists sometimes don't see their job as a career path. Managers, we want to make sure that they also see this as a career path. We offer a lot of internal growth, so people can grow with a company. So I think that's very big for us too. But I really can't tell you, why they choose us and why they would choose somebody else. I do hope they choose us based on the office that we're adding them in, and they like the doctor, they like the team. I do see that a lot. And then I also see a lot of people just choosing because they need a job.
Getting to know the people in the offices, I think, is super important. And knowing whether or not somebody's going to fit in with the culture and the personalities makes a big difference. You obviously want to get along with who you spend so much of your life with. So we view things when we're hiring also in a very similar way of We want the candidate or the person to be just as excited to work here as we are to have them come on board. And we want to be completely transparent about what that looks like. There should be no surprises. We're not trying to sell somebody. It's like, this is who we are and this is what we do. And this is why it would be a great fit, hopefully for you. And if it's not, no harm there. And there's other opportunities out there. So I'd be interested in understanding from your perspective, when you first joined Progressive, how many offices were there at that point?
They were about to open their fourth.
Okay. And are all the offices that you have, were they opened as de novos or have any of them been acquisitions?
So up to 2021, they were all de novos. We have acquired only one office. So pretty much 12 of them were all de novos.
So you joined when there was 4, and then you went and you managed an office. When you think of the growth that you've had over that time and all the offices that you've added, is it harder to go from like 4 to 8, or was it harder to go from 8 to 12? Is it always hard? Is there kind of any difference from your perspective in the arc of growth that you've seen?
I think any office that you add on is hard. And it's not hard on maybe HR or credentialing or billing or the office itself. It's hard because we look at each office as their individual office. So like, even though they're all part of our organization, an office does bad, that is a big problem for us. We don't really look at 4 offices are doing great. It's okay that this office is not doing so well. So we really do need every office to do well. So I think we focus a lot on that specific location more than just, oh, you're part of 13 offices. Obviously, it helps the fact that you already have all your SOPs, you already have all of your strategies in place. You know what works, you know what doesn't work. But it is a challenge every single time you open an office.
You mentioned that some of the offices open post-COVID are having more challenges than offices that had been open previously before COVID started. What do you attribute that to? And what are some of the approaches that you're taking to solve for that?
I think after COVID happened, there was a lot of transition when it comes to patients. There's no, it's a new office, so there's no loyalty to the doctor yet. There is no retention to that provider, right? So I think that there was a lot of people that will come in, maybe do their first exam, do what they needed to do. Maybe they work remote, they moved. We noticed that the retention was not as strong as it usually is for us when we used to open offices. And retention is very important for so many different reasons. But the way I see retention is the more you can retain your patients, the more they're going to talk about you, refer you. And then that's how you gain opportunities with new patients. So the fact that the retention was not exactly where we need to be, I think that's where the change kind of switched from 2020 post-COVID kind of stuff compared to how it used to be when I used to open offices before that.
And so if retention becomes an issue, what are some of your strategies to work on improving that?
We changed a couple different things in the office. Obviously, you start doing more marketing because you need more patients in the door because you need those opportunities. And then we added a little more of technology into it in the past couple years where we didn't have before to kind of give the wow experience. That has helped in a lot of the offices already. We added specialties inside the offices. So we are offering different specialties similar to oral surgery, ortho, we have pedo. So we were able to add all of those specialties in there. And then we added general anesthesia, hospital privileges. So this way, they have a home to come back to. They don't have to go searching elsewhere. Even if they have to drive a little bit, they have to drive anyways into the city if they want those services, because it's really hard to get some of the services right away. With us, we were able to stand out a little bit that way.
You mentioned that you handle each office as its own independent office, even though it's part of this broader organization and the Progressive Dental Management umbrella. What are the expectations from your perspective on what should be consistent across every office? What are you looking for that you guide the team? This is like maybe the Progressive Dental way.
So the way I kind of explain to my team all the time, it's like an 80-20. 80% across the board, everybody should do exactly the same. We have the same systems everywhere. We have the same protocols when it comes to check in, check out. You have the infection control protocols are all the same. I think that the 20% is obviously the team, it's the culture, it's the little perks or the different clinicians, some of the different procedures. So I think that's where we treat the office individual. We don't compare one office to the other because every clinician works different. Every clinician has different skill sets. The team, the personality, the demographic that we serve is different. So I think that's where we really focus on that 20% and try to figure out who are we serving, who's our customers. And for me, my customers are not the patients. It's the people working there. So yes, they're my team members, but if they're not happy, and I'm not mean happy like I want to make you laugh all the time or things like that. If they actually don't feel satisfied of being at work, they don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, I guess I got to go to work. That's okay. But if they look at the mirror and say, another day, I don't want that. That's the kind of happy I'm looking for, that they're okay to go to work. I think that if people didn't have to go to work, they would be at the beach or somewhere. So as long as they're okay walking through the doors, I'm a happy person for them. I think the biggest thing for us is just making sure that they understand their patients, their doctors. We understand who they are and we understand what they need. And I think that's where we treat every office differently.
When you're looking to open up a new office, what are the most important considerations? Do you have kind of like an ideal profile of what you're looking for from a patient base or demographic or location? Talk me through a little bit about how you think about doing that growth and what it looks like.
When we decide to open an office, the CEO, Dimitri, he's actually way more involved. He's like the visionary of it. But then when I get involved into it, it's pretty much when he's like, I think this location is great. And then the questions that I usually ask is why? And some of the things that I'm expecting to hear is who is going to be around me? What is the population I'm serving? Is it a hard place to hire team members? Because there is places where you might put an office there, but you're going to take months to hire hygienists, a doctor, an assistant, team members at the front. So I'm looking for all of that. I'm definitely looking at specialties around in case if I cannot add specialties in that office. And then if there's not enough, that's an opportunity. So I looked at the distance between the offices too. We have a new rule. If I can't drive, we're not opening there anymore, at least for now. So we also look at that as well. I think that the ideal office, I don't know if it exists anymore. The ideal location, I think that every location can be an opportunity if you have the right clinician, the right team in there, that you can really drive the patients inside your office.
So, what's most exciting for you as you kind of look forward to the rest of this year and look into 2025? What are the things that you're excited to work on and that you're looking forward to?
I think that I had a lot of opportunity to meet some incredible people in the past couple months and, maybe the past year. And I've been learning a lot just about myself and learning a lot about the things that I can do for the company. I think that I had to learn a lot with a lot of errors. I call my mistake lessons. I think a lot of people do too, but I think I really believe in that the past 12 years have been an interesting journey with learning, and it's like a mini school that I just had to go through it. What I'm looking forward to do is continue to grow. I think that there's so many opportunities to grow internally, to grow by getting different offices, really building the company to the point where I know that our doctor partners want to be at. We want to be at. I think there is a lot of opportunities with technology. So I think I'm really glad to be able to be in a space where I can explore that. I really believe that if I put too many goals in place, I think we miss the opportunity to actually do what's right in front of us. So I try to have long-term goals, but I try to make it as realistic as possible with what I have right now.
And you've talked about learning a lot. So, what is your approach to learning? Where do you go to learn? How do you continue to grow?
It varies year by year, but I definitely love going to the Women's ESO. I think it's incredible what they have been able to build. Orbit, it was great. Definitely going to be going next year, so I'm excited for that. DICOM, I think it's a great place to go as well. I do a lot of webinars. I had the opportunity to go to the Align DSO forum. That was incredible. A lot of learning there. but a lot of webinars, a lot of reading, a lot is just talking to other people when it comes to different positions that they are in. I am a big believer that everybody can teach you something if you're willing to listen to them. And I think that's very big for me. I learn from people inside the offices all the time. Like I will go in and I see at the reception doing something. I'm like, what did you just do? And they're like, oh, I pressed this and this. I'm like, you can do that? So I think for me, when it comes to the conferences I'm going to visit, those are some of them. But I do learn something new every single day. And then obviously, when you are reading different things, you're able to just go on Google and learn even more. A magical window there.
Will you be going to Dicoma this year?
That's the plan.
Oh, awesome. I will definitely see you there. Are you going to bring a list of things that...
No.
No? All right. It's not going to be quite the same without the list. Is Dimitri going to be going there as well?
I think he's coming with me, yes.
Okay, very, very cool. You mentioned women in DSO, and I had Dr. Kaur on a couple episodes back, and it's really impressive, a lot of the things that they're working on. Aside from the conference itself, have you gotten involved in any of the other programs that they run?
Yeah, I have. So I had the opportunity this year to have a mentor, and I was super excited because I learned so much. I'm still learning. And then they have tons of webinars, a lot of information that they're constantly sharing. So there is so much that they offer. There's so much more I would like to be part of. So I'm trying to figure out what's next. But I definitely plan to continue to participate on their mentee part of it. I think that they have some incredible people really willing to share so much with you. And I think that's just a gift that I don't think you can have if you are not part of such an organization.
It's a great gift. Any tips that you have for somebody that wants a mentor and the appropriate way to kind of manage that relationship and how to get the most value out of it?
So I had the opportunity this year to actually find two incredible people, one through the Women's DSO. And then when I went to the conference, I found this incredible person who I love talking to. And then actually I have like three. I've been a little bit everywhere this year when it comes to meeting these incredible people. And one of the things that I learned throughout the years is when you choose to learn from someone, choose to learn from somebody that can make some sort of difference for you, not somebody that you're going to debate back and forth, but something that you can share with them. And maybe they will learn from you too. But a lot of the things that I looked for is personality. How would I click with that personality? Because learning from someone that does not have the same characteristics as you or personality as you or some of the things that you kind of expect, it's going to be really hard. So even like the tone of my voice and the way I kind of carry myself, approach things, I was very specific about looking for people like that. Been very lucky because these incredible people have appeared in my life this year, and they're very similar. They're loud, they're bubbly, they have their challenges, but they're willing to share and they're raw and they're not fake, humble individuals. So I think when you're looking for a mentor, to kind of summarize your main question is look for somebody that clicks with a lot of your personality and the way you approach the world.
You talk about mentorship. You're the COO of a 13 office group with a lot of responsibilities there. You obviously have a lot of ambition and things that you're pursuing. Any time management tips? How do you prioritize? How do you know where to spend your time and when?
I always prioritize the offices. So that's the biggest thing for me. So 9 to 5, 10 to 6, however that time that office is open. Now, when it comes to my tasks, majority of your tasks can wait. What can wait is your patients, like your providers, your team members. They're not going to really be as forgiven if you prioritize your to-do lists compared to their problem that they have at that time. But the way I kind of do it is I have a list every single day and high priorities, medium, low. I change them back and forth. And then I kind of go doing it that way. I'm on the road quite a bit. So a lot of my time, if I am on the car, is solving a lot of these challenges that might arise or just having conversations and trying to figure it out. I still do a lot of the interviews for the doctors. I think that's very big for us here, where we really want the doctors to know us, between me and the CEO. We want them to be able to talk to me originally, know that I'm here to support them. And then the other tasks, I was able to find some incredible people to help me. And, I have a couple of people who have been with me for quite a bit of years. They grew with me. They saw me growing. They saw my challenges. They saw all my falls. So they were able to hopefully learn from a lot of that. And that helps a lot. So I kind of prioritize my time on the offices, and then everything else comes with it.
Love the approach you all are taking. I love the opportunities that you're giving for the members of the team to grow from within, and the way that you're able to support everyone so that they also have opportunities for professional growth as well. It's really neat. Well, thank you so much, Emma. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was such an interesting journey getting here.
Absolutely. We'll do it again. You might end up being the first 3-time member to join the Dental Economist Show. So, hey, really appreciate it. And I guess I'll see you in a few weeks.
Yes, I'll see you soon. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
The Dental Economist Show is brought to you by Planet DDS. To find out more about how cloud-based dental software by Planet DDS helps unleash dentists and their staff to focus on patient care, visit www.planetdds.com. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes by following wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.